My name is Angel, and I am from Linda Vista. I was born and raised here, born Sharps Hospital. The store on there delivered me in 1969. I come from a pretty good family. My grandparents immigrated over here in 1911. I grew up on Comstock Street. I was raised by my grandparents for the most part of my youth. I had my mother, and there was 5 sisters and 1 uncle that grew up in the same house that I had grown up with my grandparents, and they all graduated. A couple of my older aunts, they graduated like Point Loma or somewhere else. And I had my father, who he worked well with SDG&E, had a good job. He remarried, had a new family, but for the most part, my mother was like not in my life from the time I was 7 years old until I got a little bit older. She struggled with addiction, and she struggled with some mental illness issues, but you would think she was normal, but yeah, she struggled with those issues, and I tend to struggle with some of the same issues that she had. My grandmother was full-on Catholic, sweet little Italian old lady. And my grandfather, I understand, was atheist. That's why he didn't ever come to church with us. Okay, I didn't understand it until I was older, when he had passed. I went to church every Sunday, CCD on Wednesdays. I did what we did as growing up, me and my sister, with my grandparents. Okay, then I got sent away to stay with an aunt and grow up. So, they were well-to-do, my aunt and uncle, and they had 3 daughters, which were my 3 cousins, and they were all girls, and it was good for me. So I ended up staying there in about 6th grade. And then, a short time after that, I ended up getting shipped to my father. And my father, I only lasted a few months, and I was going to be going to high school, or junior high school. And my mother, she'd been out of our lives and everything, and she was waiting for her 4th husband to get out of prison. For my stepfather, she married and had an abusive relationship with, and I went to stay with her for a short period, and then my sister ended up coming from my grandparents up in San Luis Obispo, and my sister came and she said, no, we belong in San Diego. We're going back to San Diego. We're not waiting for this guy, this loser. You're gonna get away from this guy. I told my mother that, and so we did. We drove away. She didn't wait for him. She ended up, divorced. No, she didn't divorce him, but she got away from him. We went and stayed with my godmother and aunt out in the mountains, and I went to high school there for like 9th, 10th, 11th, and then I came back to Linda Vista in the 12th grade. Living out in the mountains with my godmother and my aunt. It was a good family. She had a lot of foster children, and I also had 4 cousins that were from out there that stayed there. So there was I lived on a farm, they call it the farm, but it was like 3 adults and about 18 kids. And there was the middle group, the little group, middle group, and the older group. I learned a lot, but I also got introduced to drugs out there without my aunt's knowledge, and I got into a bad addiction. And let's see, I was 16, 17, and me and my sister she had moved away and was living with an aunt out in Illinois. She was going to college, and because she graduated, she's 3 years older than me. She graduated before I did and moved on. Okay, so she was going to school, college, going to be an EMT. She was doing really good, and then I was not doing so well out in Campo. My sister, I called her up and said I was running away, and she said no. So she came down and she rescued me. She said, I'll be there in 3 days. She came down, she drove her car down, and she rescued me. My first job at McDonald's, and I was going to school, but I had come down with a 12th grade, came down with shingles, and then that put me out in the beginning of 12th grade. And then I had also gotten into trouble behind drugs. In school, I got in trouble with an undercover operation or whatever, and kicked out all San Diego County schools. When I was I was 17, 18, I was good. I met this guy down at the beach. I thought he was the greatest guy in the world, and lo and behold, he was a great guy. He did a lot of good things as far as building, but he had a troubled life. When I met him at the beach, I didn't ever go home. Me and my sister had a place. When I got out of juvenile hall after getting in trouble from high school, she had gotten a new place for us so I could come home and everything. Well, then I had met this guy, and I left her and my cousin, for the bills and everything, which was wrong. But I met this guy, and I thought he was great, and I started having kids with him. So I had 2 kids with him, and then, and there was some abuse in there, mentally, and it was like one day I got a phone call when actually I was with him, and I knew there was something wrong, and I was pregnant with my second kid. I'm 8 months pregnant, and this guy in the building shoots this guy, okay, and it's just a crazy drama scene, okay. But so anyways, he ended up getting shot 6 times, and there I was with 2 babies, and 5-month-old, and one he was 22 months old. So they were 17 months apart. What happened was I was being a good mom, but that's what I thought. I was also involved in drugs again, and that addiction was there, and I had my kids with me 24/7, but yet I had my own place and stuff, but I really needed help. I really did. And so anyways, to make a long story short, my children had gone into the system, and my sister ended up getting my children from me. She had 4 of her own and 4 of mine at this point. No, that was 2 kids now. Okay, so she took on my boys. And I had gotten pregnant with this other guy, and terrible to say, I had her positive tox. And so my sister ended up, and my mom came from rehab. She ended up staying with my sister to take care of that 3rd child. Okay, so my bond with my children got further and further away. We decided, it'd be great, long-term foster care, so I could get my life together, without having to worry about trying to raise these kids. So, gosh, it's so hard today because it just is. Okay, so then I have 3 kids. My sister has them. I do everything family courts want me to do to get my children back. But by that time, which I had also gotten in trouble again behind my addiction and drugs, and it was like, oh my gosh, everything came crashing down on me again. But I was homeless at this point and had nowhere. I was homeless because I had nowhere. I had a lot of friends, people's houses, backyards, canyons, whatever it was. I didn't care. I just stayed awake or did whatever on roller skates, okay? Sounds crazy, but it got further and further away from my children, the bond. I knew they were in good hands. They were just so close. They were just a couple miles away. I'm in Linda Vista. They're in Upper Linda Vista, like Birdland. And my sister added 3 more bedrooms to the house because she had her 4 kids. And then I had also got pregnant one more time, so I had 4 kids. And she took on that one, so she ended up, to maybe sum this all up, she ended up adopting my 2 girls. I had gotten in trouble out here on these streets, running around in addiction, and it put a stop to it because I was able to get out of jail, and I experienced some things in jail that were like, I never want to go back there again. No, thank you. I mean, I might have been a trustee and it was all good. It was like summer camp, but it really wasn't. So I had ended up going to one of the hardest programs there are here in California is CRASH, Community Resources and Self-Help. I took myself from jail and I put myself in a rehab, but it was residential because I knew that I couldn't come out to the streets and make it on these streets, and so I'd been clean for almost a year, and it was like, so then when I went into the program, all right, that was good because I stayed clean. I quit smoking cigarettes, quit everything, because I didn't have the opportunity to actually go get cigarettes when I got out of jail. I went straight from there, straight to the program, like within hours. And so I continued there in the residential, and while I was there was things that I learned what to do and how to do and how to take care of myself. I ended up getting a job, and it might have been McDonald's, but I pretty much did on managerial duties. I worked very high volume store. I've got, good how can I say this? I went from being just a crew member all the way to having keys to the store, to opening and closing. I ended up 2009. Okay, I was working at a recycler up here, Linda Vista recycler, and that was in 2009. Well, I got hit by a car. Okay, I got hit by a car. I was on a bicycle. You know, to this day, it's hard for me to swallow, but the lady that hit me did get away with it. It was, that's a whole other long story, but it put me out because I used to roller skate a lot. My left ankle, she shattered it. You know, my head, I had surgery on my head, my face, and I couldn't walk. I didn't know. She shattered my whole left ankle. And ever since then, I kind of had problems. I didn't work no more, still haven't worked. I take medication from anxieties. I saw medication for my leg because it swells up a lot, but both of my legs, I don't know if she run me over or whatnot, but she definitely did some damage. And so I had met this guy, and around the time my mother, she had passed away, I had met this guy that I hadn't known or I hadn't seen in like 20 years. So anyways, that's the guy that I am with today. So I'm still in the same position, but I had an apartment, and I had given up the apartment because we fell behind because of some roommates that passed away in my apartment. I couldn't help, pay all the rent, and we tried and couldn't. So turned in our keys, and then whatever, we're homeless together. Okay, gosh, it's like, I know there's a whole lot more. That's the skinny of my story, but so I'm out here on the streets again, and for the most part, it's been a few years, couple years now. No, I know 2 at least. And we were always getting help by his sister, and staying in the garage here, we tried downtown, we stayed on the streets, we stayed down in Little Italy, we stayed everywhere. We stayed here in Linda Vista. Well, David started talking to these people here at the church. I'm always at the library, and then he's let's go over there to eat on a Sunday. So we went, all right. Well, he'd already met everyone first before I did, and I was kind of like, not really with it, but yeah, all right. Well, after the first couple of times I went, this was great. I felt like, oh, this is awesome, and I started helping out, and I just stayed connected with it, and I ended up staying here on the property. And I'm still here. I came over here and I hadn't done church in so many years or whatnot, but I really started to get to know some people that were talking to me and help me, and the pastors, and it was like a decision I made to get baptized, to get closer to God again, and to start to learn more about, what our Bible says, and it's really been great because I feel that I can, have more confidence, which is not very big right now, but I do want to help others in a time of need. And being homeless, I'm always out there trying to give people, help out to eat or something, because that's how my mother was. And so here I am, going to hopefully be around for a long time more. It's been a blessing. Jesus has really been in my life. Thank God. Thank you, Lord. For a lot of reasons, but there's still a long way for me to go. But I plan on doing it. I'm making a life for, me, for whatever's around me, and to get closer to my Angel, and thank you for listening to my story.